Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Oniara and I talk everything self-mastery, personal development, and just everyday life experiences and how you can take the lessons from those experiences to live a more purposeful, fulfilling, and magical life. Today, I'm here to talk about how to get comfortable with uncertainty and make bold moves. So I'm going to be sharing my own experience and what I've learned and understood through my studying of this, and how we really aren't certain of anything. We're not certain of anything but the fact that we are going to die. That is the only thing that we know, and we're not even certain of when that's going to happen. And so a lot of people allow uncertainty to stop them, that fear of the unknown to stop them from moving forward, from taking bold action into stuff that they've always wanted to do, into things that really call to them and inspire them and interest them and really open this huge desire within to explore. And some people really don't allow themselves to explore something different because they're so afraid of the unknown, because they're so afraid of the uncertainty of the unknown. And today I'm here to remind you and help you move past this uncertainty and actually take bold moves. So first, let's talk about how there's really nothing that we know. Just like I said, the only thing we know is that we will die, and that's it. We don't really know anything else. And so just like worry, it's like praying for something that you don't even know could happen, because it's really praying for uncertainty, right? The uncertainty of the things that you keep thinking about that could happen that are negative. That's what worrying is. When you're worrying, when you worry, you pray for the things that you don't want. But what is faith? Faith is also praying for those things that you can't see. Faith is having the hope that there is something better, is trusting God, is being connected to God so powerfully that even if you have this fear, you will choose to move with it because you know that God is there, because your trust is so much stronger than this, right? And again, we don't know anything for sure. Everything is pretty unknown. And to move from uncertainty to a place of faith, to move from uncertainty to a place of trust, you have to shift your perspective. Because at the end of the day, what's creating how we feel is the story that we're telling ourselves, which is the perspective we are seeing our lives with. So the first thing you want to do to be able to shift from feeling uncertain is to shift the story that you're telling yourself that's creating this feeling of uncertainty. And I'll give you an example. It is so different for me to say, I really want to start this, and but I just don't know where this might go, and it can all go wrong, and what if I just waste my time? People make fun of me. What if I lose all my money, all my friends, all of this stuff? And you're just thinking of all the negative stuff, and it's bombarding you in your head, and it's just creating this feeling of uncertainty, of fear of the unknown, of what might happen in the future that could be really bad. Because let's be honest, uncertainty comes from believing that you are going to go through something that's bad, or that's fearful or scary. So how do you shift that to move to something of faith? Well, you got to do the work, and that is by reminding yourself and shifting that into a place of gratitude, reminding yourself to trust God, that is the work of life, to trust, to come back to trust, to being connected to God enough to be able to say, you know what? I acknowledge this uncertainty. I acknowledge that I'm scared. I acknowledge this fear. And I also acknowledge that God is always guiding me. And I also trust that God has my back. And I also trust that God is guiding me in an extraordinary path that I cannot even imagine. So I must trust to be able to find that path, to be able to live that path. And so that's the work, shifting the story you're telling yourself that's creating this fear, that's creating this feeling of uncertainty, to a story, right? Or to a perspective that is going to help you feel that trust that you know you have in God within you, because God has shown you that He will provide for you. And if He hasn't, there's work to be done, because that means that you're just not seeing it, because God is always there. He is always trying to show us the light. And I've seen this in my darkest moments, where when I was in those moments, I didn't see the light that God was showing me. But now, and when I go back and I reanalyze those moments, I see how God was always there trying to guide me, and I just didn't see him. So when we do the work to guide ourselves back to trust, when we do the work to guide ourselves to walk the path of God, of light, of truth, of integrity, of responsibility, we will be able to see. We will be able to see how God is lighting up the path for us. And that will help you move faster and faster into faith and trust, because fear is never going to leave. That feeling of uncertainty and that fear of the unknown is never going to leave. At least in my experience so far, it doesn't seem, from what I've been studying, that it leaves anybody. People just get better at coming back to trust, at coming back to faith. And again, faith is believing in something that you can't see, just as worry is. So you get to choose where you're going to put your energy, So how do you do this? You have to take responsibility. You have to be self-aware, practice self-awareness of the perspective, the story that you're telling yourself. What is creating this feeling of uncertainty? Why are you not wanting to take the bold moves that you know deep inside that you want to take? And then you tell yourself this story, or you tell yourself whatever it is that you're telling yourself. And this is the work. You have to become self-aware of what you're telling yourself. You have to become self-aware of what you keep repeating to yourself that's creating these feelings in your life that continues to create these same patterns in your life. Not taking the bold moves you've been wanting to take. This is something that I hope helps you see how important it is to take the bold moves, how important it is to learn to walk and get braver, to walk with fear and just get brave. People are not fearless, they just get brave. It's important because it might seem risky to make these bold moves. It might seem risky to start a new thing, to do the new thing. But it is a risk in itself to not take risks in your life. Because when you don't take risks, you risk throwing your whole life away and not actually living. And then guess what? The only thing that you were certain of happens. You die. And then you realize you didn't get to live because you were too afraid to take risk. That's a big risk. And I don't know about you, but for me, it feels way more exciting, way more even exciting of the challenge to go take other risks, to go and put myself out there and become braver, than to live a life and risk not living. Than to survive through a life, right? And then just die at the end and realize that I didn't live. And that was the risk that I took by keeping it safe. How safe is it there when you're not feeling good? How safe is it there when you know that there's no excitement and no life in your life? It's not that safe. It's not that safe. It doesn't even feel safe because it's human in you to want to progress. It's human in you to want to grow. It's human in you to want to be challenged. It's human in you to want to master yourself. And so your soul will never actually feel safe by not taking risks. Because again, that is a big risk in itself. To not take risks is a big risk in itself. Because you risk your entire life and your purpose here. So what are you doing here then? I hope this served as a reminder. I hope this brought some value into your life. If it did, remember to give it a thumbs up down there and Also, comment anything below, any questions that you might have, or anything that you would like me to talk about specifically, or help you shift your perspective in if you feel like you're stuck in a certain situation or a certain pattern or behavior or thought process in your life. I would love to be able to talk about it if I have something to share. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you next time.